I always do that. Don't you? Don't you?
I'm a night rider.
Okay.
Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher.
You do?
Swear I gotta get higher now.
Oh, man.
I'm a night rider.
I am.
Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire.
That what?
I supply that fire.
What is going on, you beautiful bookworms, and welcome back to another episode of Bookmarks with Bump. This is the 46th edition, and if you don't know me by now, I am your host, Bump, Sean Patrick Cote, National Academy of Sports Medicine, Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, as well as a apprentice, soon to be journeyman tradesman in the Department of Labor. I'm a tool setter. Working the trades, working my way through an apprenticeship. What else am I? I'm a jackass of all trades and a master of none. A man who's been to rock bottom, lost everything, and built it all back. Didn't we talk about that last week? We talked about a few things last week. I brought up something I was going to dive into a thread last week, because that's what we do here. This is a hilariously idiotic, entertaining, informative podcast from a personal trainer who used to be a fatty boom batty and turned himself into an absolute dog, if I do say so myself. Other people have told me, so I feel like that gives me the dog pass, so I'll use my D pass anytime that I want. Nonetheless, what we do here and the goal of Bookmarks with Bump is to bring a entertaining way to bring a laugh out. We're not just trying to bring a laugh out, we're trying to teach ourselves something in the process and keep our chin up. Remind ourselves that every day has a chance to be a good day, no matter what's going on inside of it. And last week, I made a conscious decision to continue to have a good day because I was going to bring up politics. And, we touch on pretty much everything here. We touch on everything here on Bookmarks Bump. I've had threads about time travel. I've had threads about conspiracy. I've had threads about politics before. But at this point in my awakening, I've realized that it doesn't matter who's who in politics. It's all, it's pretty much them against us. So I'm not really going to dive into it as a topic on this podcast because it's kind of draining, to be honest, when you think about these people who are advocating for your well-being, meanwhile stuffing their pockets with our money and not really. I mean, I'm driving around, I'm seeing terrible. We have terrible road systems and infrastructure, and people that should be taken care of aren't, and the list goes on and on and on, and it's really all about money. So let's not just dive into those types of things that are going to keep us down. I mean, this is the 25th. By the time you're hearing this, it'll be the 27th of April. The Pope has died. So let's not really dive into that either. T's and P's to the Pope and all of the Catholics who are reeling in their sorrows. But we're not going to dive into that too much either. Even though it happened the day after Easter, which is interesting to me, to say the least. The Catholic faith as a whole is pretty interesting to me as well. No offense to anybody who is Catholic, but I don't think it's the best idea to tell people they'll be damned to hell from an early age and on. I don't know how much inward anxiety that causes, but I can't imagine that it's great to live feeling that type of guilt. And what are the Roman Catholics so guilty about anyway? Coming hot off the presses just a week after Jesus's rebirth. The NFL draft took place last night, and yeah, here we go.
Here we go! Buck, here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Yeah, here we go!
Yeah, so the first round of the draft took place, and your number one overall pick, coming out of the University of Miami, quarterback, standing at 6'2", 219 pounds, Cam Ward, to the Tennessee Titans. It looks like Will Levis's days are numbered as a Titan. We have Cam Ward, who really did wow last year. His name started popping up for me a lot last year. I Didn't really know much of him before last year, but last year he made a big impact for Miami, and Coach Cristobal down there. They didn't do too poorly, so I can't really say that he's a bad player. The thing about him is that he carries himself with a lot of confidence and moxie. The guy just seems like when he gets on the field, he knows exactly how he's going to impact the game. He's confident in every throw. He's not afraid to make any throw. And I'm trying to find something for later on in the podcast, so I'm a little bit distracted at this moment. Moment of clear transparency. But nonetheless, the first round of the draft went on, and that wasn't necessarily a head turner as a pick. People assumed Cam Ward would go first because of everything he did in Miami. He transferred there after playing at Incarnate Word for 2 seasons and Washington State for another 2. So he comes in with a ton of experience, which I love, and I talked about that last year. People were playing the long career in the transfer portal and the extra COVID years out to be as if it was something bad, as if it was a bad thing for a player to have more time on the field. When you have these players come in really young, like think about Sam Darnold, for instance. He came in to the league at 20 years old, and it took until last year for him to make a true impact on a team and really become the player that he was supposed to be. So if that's the case, I think the experience is the most important thing. Yes, of course, talent is talent that jumps off of the screen at you is something that's really always going to catch your eye. We saw a lot of that in a player I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes here, Shedeur Sanders, who showed an immense amount of talent as well as toughness throughout his career. However, there are things that go into the game that are deeper than that. And you look at Shedeur as a player who played for, I believe, 4 years, 2 at Colorado and 2 at Jackson State before his dad took over at Colorado. So what we see here with Cam Ward is a player who's older, more mature, and able to carry himself like a pro at this point with the amount of snaps he's taken underneath the center. What I wanted to talk about was the Cowboys draft pick, Tyler Booker, I think that was his name. Yep. The Cowboys drafted a offensive guard out of Alabama, Tyler Booker, who knows what he could end up in a few different positions. He's got a ton of size at 6'5", 321 pounds. It's funny because Micah Parsons is one of those players who has their podcast, has their show, has their little, their life off of the field. They have a way to continue to be a successful and notable figure once their career is over, because sometimes you see a professional athlete whose status and also finances start to dwindle, so he's getting out ahead of that. And he is an interesting personality, so I'm sure he gets a ton of traction and attention, and last night he certainly did. When the Cowboys drafted an offensive guard, he didn't show an immense amount of excitement right away until Tyler Booker answered a question about what keeps him on the field, what keeps him the player that he is, and he said he loves to watch when his opponents eyes lose the love of football, and that's what keeps him hungry, is that when he sees a player across from him, a defensive tackle, a defensive end, who doesn't want to rush against him, that's what gives his motor drive. He wants to beat the life out of his opponent. And as a pure raw dog, that is the best answer that you could give. And Micah Parsons heard that and loved every single second of it, as do I. Football, as many ways as you want to cut the cake, it's a violent sport, and it's a way to release aggression in a structured and safe manner, air quotes under safe. And Tyler Booker is looking to do a whole lot of that. In a big shock, the Jaguars traded up to take the second pick, and they used that second pick on Travis Hunter. The Jaguars, knowing that fan interest is starting to dwindle after they had a really great season, beat the Chargers in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence looked like the quarterback that he was hailed to be coming into the league. They finally had some success. And then the last 2 seasons, they've been on a little bit of a downhill slope. They bring in a new GM who looks like he's younger than me. And they make a big splash, trading up from 5 to 2 with the Cleveland Browns to draft Travis Hunter, one of the most notable names in the draft. He's a dual, I say he could be a triple threat player, playing very solidly as a cornerback, being a very sure-handed wide receiver. And I think in the league, excuse me, I think in the league he has true potential to be an all-world kick returner, like a Devin Hester, like a Josh Cribbs, players that played both ways while they were in college, players that were able to play both ways in the NFL, not taking an immense amount of snaps. It's interesting to see how Travis Hunter's career will pan out. Is he going to be able to take 90 snaps a game? Who knows? I can't really say. I can doubt it. The kid loves nothing more than football and video games. I mean, that's pretty much what he is. He's not going to be a player who brings in a bad name or has a bad rep. He doesn't have any red dot on his draft board. He is as solid as they come. A football player who wants to practice, get better, and stay inside when he's not playing football. Travis Hunter is going to fit right in Jacksonville wherever they put him because he's a player who commands respect. I mean, he's done it all, and professionals are waiting to get their hands on him to not only test him and test his skills, but also pick him up and help him be one of the greats because he has potential to be a great player if he's under the right tutelage. Oh, right now the Patriots are on the clock in round 2, pick number 6 of round 2. But in pick number 4 of round 1, they took an offensive tackle, Will Campbell, out of LSU, a 6'6", 319 pound, dog. I mean, he's played over 2,400 snaps in his career. Another player with a ton of experience. I'm very happy with this pick because that was one thing that was glaring last year was that Drake May needed real protection. Drake May needed a wall up front, and this is going to be a cornerstone piece of where we build that. Moving on, other notable names that got drafted in the first round would be Ashton Genty, the all-world running back out of Boise State. He got taken with the 6th pick to the Raiders, which was pretty much mocked. And people called that the first pick of the Pete Carroll era with the Las Vegas Raiders will be a running back who amassed a massive amount of yards. I mean, if we're talking gambling numbers, his lines for some games were ridiculous. 189.5 yards would be his over-under. That is that is somebody who knows how to move their feet. And in the league, it's going to be important for him because not only is he moving his feet, hitting gaps, he's been a consistent pass blocker, so he's kind of a do-it-all running back, probably a 3-down back, and it's going to be a piece that Raiders team needs since moving on from Josh Jacobs a season ago. Colston Loveland from Michigan got drafted with the 10th pick to the Bears, so that gives Caleb Williams a more supportive talent, and he's kind of a player who could play all over the field as well, not just come off a tight end. I mean, he's going to be a solid guy moving forward. We talked about Tyler Booker to the Cowboys. Tyler Warren was a surprise pick. He fell behind Loveland, and that wasn't really... It was back and forth in different mock drafts, but the tight end out of Penn State kind of comes in and looks to be that Frank Clark player that the Colts always depended on back in the day when they were in the running for championships. Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State got drafted to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, supplying Baker Mayfield with more weapons. I mean, this guy, he's been so lucky when it comes to, he hasn't been lucky. You have to love the story of Baker Mayfield. Let's not make it about Baker Mayfield right now because it's Emeka Egbuka's moment to shine. But, he's getting the Ohio State leader in receptions. And you got to think about Egbuka as a guy who's been there through Marvin Harrison, through Garrett Wilson, through Chris Olave, and through pretty much every single Ohio State wide receiver that you think of who's gone on to the league to be a successful wide receiver. This guy has also been on the team with him, quiet, not transferring, staying with the team, and it's put him in the Ohio State record books. Uh, just think about that receiver core: Evans, Godwin, McMillan, Buka. It's Baker Mayfield's going to throw for 6,000 yards next year. A surprise running back that got taken in the first round would be the Chargers pick, Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. He's a big back at 6 foot and 221 pounds. And they also did just move on from their running back room. But that was a big surprise to me. I figured that one of the guys from Ohio State would have got taken after Ashton Genty, but that wasn't the case. And another first round surprise, you can never really have too many of those. Jackson Dart was the second quarterback off the board. Shedeur Sanders, who I alluded to earlier, he got passed up by the New York Giants, a team that was heavily rumored to be taking him. All leading up into the draft, they went another way and went with Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, who was drawing comps to Jalen Hurts with his size and his speed. 6'2", 223 pounds out of Ole Miss. He rushed for 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns in 3 seasons at Ole Miss, which is kind of giving him his athletic boost there. He's going to go into a quarterback room with Russell Wilson and Jameson Winston, so he has good mentors to learn from. Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't care any way you put it. Jameis Winston is an immaculate leader of men. And I just think with that combination, Jackson Dart has the potential to learn this year, possibly next year, on how to be a professional quarterback in this league. And if he has all the talent that they claim for him to have, he could have one hell of a career coming out of that quarterback room. Interesting note here. 31 and 32 got swapped. The Eagles traded with the Chiefs to go ahead and take their linebacker out of Alabama, 6'3", 235-pound Jahad Campbell. So Howie adds another dog to go in there with Zach Bond and another SEC boy. Every team on that defense, or every player on that defense, has to be from Alabama or Georgia. And Josh Simmons got taken at offensive tackle for the Chiefs, which is that was a team need for them going into the first round of the draft. The second round of the draft is taking place right now, and we'll go over all the best picks of the draft next week on Bookmarks with Bump once it's all concluded. But let's get into some bookmarks, because that's what this podcast is all about. In honor of the thread, I found a thread, which, as always, I implore you to go ahead and hit the links in the description as I'm talking about these different threads, because you can follow along with everything that I'm talking about, which is kind of important for today's episode, because I have some videos here from the 10 greatest draft moments in NFL history. ML Football put out a thread, and number 1 was George Pickens' reaction to getting drafted by the Steelers. Was one of the funniest videos and one for the ages. This was the moment he was just standing at the TV, pelvic thrust forward, with a shiesty on, just staring at the TV, standing probably 2 feet away from it. And it's been memeified for basically for the last 2 years. So George Pickens, one hell of a character. We've seen that on and off the field. Number 2 would be CeeDee Lamb snatching the phone away from his girlfriend, which was an interesting moment that got caught on tape during the COVID era draft, where CeeDee Lamb is on one phone, presumably talking to Jerry Jones. Hey, boy, we drafted you to the Dallas Cowboys, and you're going to be one of the best wide receivers all time. We want to give you number 88 for Michael Irvin and Dez Bryant. And his girlfriend seems to think that would be the moment where she'd be able to go ahead and go through his phone. She takes his hand, grabs the phone from it, pulls it into her lap, and before she has a chance to even press 1 inch of the screen, he takes the phone right back, and it makes for a very interesting video. Number 3 would be the Laramie Tunsil gas mask video. I mean, what more can I really say? This came out, I think, an hour before the draft even started. He was slated to go number 1, and he ended up sliding. It was rumored that his stepfather put out a video of him ripping a gas mask bong, and if that's the case, that's the worst stepfather of all time. Anyway, number 4, when Russell Wilson's wife thought she won the lottery after he got drafted. Russell Wilson was kind of a surprise pick, being taken by the Seahawks, who just gave Matt Flynn a ton of money. But when he got drafted, she went Tom Cruise on the couch, and the couple divorced 2 years later, not long after Wilson signed a record-breaking $87 million extension off of his rookie deal. So I wonder if that's very supportive. Everybody needs a supportive woman in her life. Anyway, the Vikings front office laughing at the Eagles after they drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, which is kind of funny because if you look at the way it panned out, that was probably the last mistake the Eagles made in the draft. This was the moment that they can look back on and say, he who laughs laughs best, because Justin Jefferson has turned out to be a generational weapon. Jalen Reagor has been on a couple teams at this point, and nonetheless, despite Justin Jefferson's production, who won the Super Bowl last year? Number 6, Isaiah Wilson's mom was not interested in her son's girlfriend being around. This was another COVID moment, and she actually yanks the girlfriend off of his lap as he gets drafted and goes to sit down. That's so funny. Number 7, after Jalen Waddle was drafted, he ran away from his family and just decided to let out a big yell and hug. He was very excited. He wanted to get to business right away. That's what it looks like to me. Number 8, after Jaguars drafted wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, his parents had the funniest draft moment ever. Reporter: Sandra, how far has this family come? And his mom responds, we came from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Great video. It's a must watch. Please, like I always say, click the links in the description and follow along. When Baker Mayfield's friend pranked him on draft night by calling him before any team. Baker Mayfield went on to be a number 1 draft pick. Number 10, Lawrence Taylor admits that he drank 41 beers on his draft night. So that's how he celebrated. 11, Gronk got in trouble just 5 minutes after he was drafted. It's a fun video to watch. Please do. Luca Van Ness's father, he went viral for giving his son's girlfriend a nice little tap on the behind after a hug. An interesting move there to do when you know the cameras are on you, or even when they aren't, but nonetheless, I guess those football families are different. Maybe that's why I never made it. Anyway, this thread goes on, and I would love to go through all 30-something videos, but it's not that kind of show, okay? Like I say, you want to listen to them, you want to look at them, you want to watch them, the links are always in the description, and it's a fun show if you follow along. You'll have to bookmark that thread yourself in order to get back there, because I'm going to move on and flex some of my personal training muscle, which is what I've been doing for the last couple weeks here as of lately. My friend from the gym, Jacob, who's now become a staple of this show and a mainstay, really, he let me know that he's actually competing in a show, a bodybuilding competition in Tampa, Florida in 10 weeks, and he asked me if I could help him, which brought me an immense amount of joy, as you can imagine. So I've been helping him in the gym. That's been really keeping me interested in training and in pushing other people, and it's been a fun way to coach, and it's definitely different, as you could probably imagine. But it is something that is really putting some wind under my sails right now. And so let me dive into a little bit of fitness advice here and see what we could do with the rest of the show. Motive Mode put out a thread about metabolism that we're going to dive into, and it starts by saying your body has been fooling you your entire life. This Harvard anthropologist spent 19 years proving it. Here are 7 metabolism myths keeping you fat, and number 4 will surprise you. The thread goes on to say Dr. Herman Poncer is an anthropologist and metabolism researcher. Sometimes when these words are linked together, it becomes a little bit harder to say. Anyway, he's an anthropologist and a metabolism researcher. For one of his studies, he worked with hunter-gatherers, a Tarzanian tribe known for walking 10 plus miles a day. What he discovered completely changed our understanding of the human metabolism. That's it. He's a metabolism researcher. I don't know why, when the word metabolism is in a sentence that I'm thinking about, it's so easy to say. But when it's written out, all I think of is metabolic. So I try to say it like metabolism. But I don't know what kind of tick that is. Nonetheless, he had 7 findings, and number 1 is that exercise doesn't burn extra calories. Your body has a fixed energy budget. When you exercise, it doesn't spend more. It just moves it around by saving on immune function, cellular repair, and other vital processes. Marathon runners don't burn twice your calories. They just allocate energy differently. That's because our bodies are made to maintain energy levels stable, no matter how much we move. The takeaway is to exercise for health and not for calories. It's not about the money, it's about the way you feel. Number 2, starving won't cut weight. Our bodies are way too smart to fall for that. When they sense starvation, they reduce calorie burn and break down muscle to preserve energy level. And that's why 10 to 20% calorie reduction, not starvation, is a better alternative for losing weight. Number 3 is frequent meals don't speed up the metabolism. Dr. Poncer's found our body doesn't care if we eat 2 or 6 times a day, and that's because it operates on total calories and not meals. What matters is what we eat, not when. Number 4 is metabolism doesn't slow down with age. In fact, it stays fairly stable from 20 to 60 years old. Why? Because age isn't the determining factor. It's the muscle loss, less movement, and poor sleep that slows it down. A healthy lifestyle is still the best way to fight age. Number 4, men don't burn more calories than women. Gender doesn't matter. It all depends on muscle mass. Dr. Poncer compared men and women with the same muscle mass and activity level. The calorie burn was almost identical. It's body composition that determines metabolic rate. Fat-burning foods don't exist. Some foods are marketed as metabolism boosting. Green tea, chili peppers, apple cider vinegar, but the effect is way too small for meaningless weight loss. The alternative? Just eat more protein. Takes 30% more energy to digest, and that's why people say to eat protein and make sure that that's the main staple of your balanced diet because of the way it satiates you, because of the energy it takes to digest it. Number 7 is that your metabolism isn't fixed. There are many ways to speed it up, and every pound of muscle burns 6 to 10 calories daily. Protein burns 30% of its calories during digestion, and even sleep quality can boost your metabolism by 20%. So how do you do that? Well, number 1 is fixing your habits. Lift weights at least 3 times per week. Sleep 7 to 9 hours consistently, and drink 3 to 4 liters of water daily. Metabolism is formed by lifestyle, Metabolism is formed by lifestyle, not genetics. The bottom line is if you want to lose weight and stay healthy, cut your calorie intake gradually, no more than 10 to 20%. Work out 3 times per week at least, and eat more protein. Are you ready to start putting some of these tips into practice? Then contact me at my email, bookmarkswbump@gmail.com. I would be very excited to get a personal training plan going with you, a lifting plan that I feel could help you add the most amount of muscle to your body without a ton of work and in an enjoyable manner. I'm always offering my personal training services, and at this point right now, I'm offering them for free, online completely. Please, I implore you to take advantage of this in any way. You could also reach out to me on social media at TCGXBump on Instagram. You could reach out to me on Snapchat, where the numbers right now are true to roof. That's Shondas. You can find me on Twitter at Bump of TTS. BUMPOFTTS. That's on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Speaking of Snapchat, as I've said, if those numbers are true to roof, I've been added by probably 6,500 accounts in the last month or so, a ton from India and Africa. So shout out to my international listeners listening right now. But I gotta say, I've been experiencing something I've never experienced before, and it really makes me feel for the plight of a woman. I've been sent, at this point, dozens of unsolicited pictures of people's penises. And those people have obviously been filtered out of the account. And I have, nothing against the gays, but I'm not. And even if I was, I don't know if I would want to see a penis at any time of the day, randomly, through a phone screen. I feel so badly for anybody, not just specifically women, but definitely helps me understand how much it must suck to have to deal with that on a daily or weekly or whenever it happens to you at all basis. Man, it is such a jarring experience to just open up a Snapchat like, oh, who is this? And it's just a dick. And I'm like, man, I'm really just trying to promote the podcast. This is awful. It's much like those OnlyFans bots who contact you and ask you what city you're from, and if you want to meet, you have to have a serious conversation with them on their OnlyFans. That's a very interesting way about it. There is a lot of promotional and marketing tools spread throughout the social medias, and that's what I use social media for. I mean, Twitter is a fun scroll, but everything else, like I've said before, I just go on, post my link, and try to get out of there. If somebody wants to talk to me, I'll talk to them, but I'm not really on there searching for anything. And when you just have a dick smack you in the face, it really wakes you up to the sick nature of reality sometimes. On a lighter note, everything else is going good. 6 weeks from now, we'll be celebrating a year of Bookmarks with Bump, and I'm so happy for everybody who's hopped on and listened, and that I've been able to help in one way or another, because that's pretty much exactly what this is supposed to be. I mean, I know I talk about football, I know I talk about conspiracies, but most of the time I want to talk about fitness and mindset and getting yourself in a good position for longevity in your life. And that's what it's really all about. And to be able to have this platform to do that is an absolute blessing, because I feel like that's what I've been called to do. And that's my purpose. It's just to teach people, help people keep their head up and understand that second chances are a real thing. They're not anything that you should take advantage of, and it's something that you should use to your advantage moving forward. It helps you understand how to be grounded in reality. It also helps you practice gratitude. When you have a second chance, you have something to be grateful for every day, even if things aren't going well in this moment. And that's really all I wanted to say. I talked about the socials earlier. Follow me on there. Subscribe, like, leave a review, comment on the podcast. Let me know something I've helped you out with over the last 9, 10, 11, 12, however long it's been going on. Episode 46 is in the can. And as always, it's all love. God bless.
I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. I've been riding a wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I've been riding a wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out best midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher, man.